it, who had a pretty horrible time of it in the not so distant past, finding his way back into a role within the game as well.
Yep, it's all going to be good. The more countries that play it, the bigger it'll grow.
Yeah, for sure. And if there's someone who you can show the handful of fans that might turn out and watch, look at this guy, and they can see that he played in some big games and stuff, it might help deepen their affections as well, mightn't it? So great news there. Thanks to EFC, who was the only person to get in touch with us about the news this week. Make sure you look for links to the Google form for fan views on this week's news. You'll see that on superleaguepod.com in the episode blog post. Shout out, as always, to BBC Sport Rugby League page, totalrl.com and loverugbyleague.com for providing the news stories for us to comment on. We're now going to move into the match reviews. Match reviews time. It was round 18 of Super League. We were desperately hoping we would get 6 games, but alas, Hull FC, something's wrong over there with COVID. They seem to be always affected, aren't they? But yeah, so we've got 5 games to talk about, and we're going to start on Friday night with your cup final, as you described it yourself, Rob. It was Leeds 18, Castleford 32. Castleford extended on their 14-6 half-time advantage. There was 10,838 there to watch Ben Thaler do not his 400th Super League game. Unfortunately, the Super League website provided incomplete team stats. I think maybe Bodine Thompson or someone was missing from the Leeds list. But we do have some impressive individual stats to take everyone through. So we'll start with the winning side, Castleford, who had Greg Eden with 2 tries, 1 try assist and 190 metres. Daryl Alferts with a try assist, 7 tackle-busts and 147 metres. Niall Evalls with a try assist and 139 metres. It's a real shame for him he couldn't get 140. Jordan Turner with 1 try, 1 try assist and 125 metres. Ash Hanley had a try and 157 metres for Leeds. Cam Smith had 150 metres. Connie Hurrell, 8 tackle-busts, 136 metres. And Zane Tetavano, 122 metres. Oh, you were the only fan view on this, Rob.
Do you want me to read my own fan view?
Or you can just tell us what you made of the game, and if it's the same, then you can say the same things.
I'll just read out the fan review in that case. I don't really remember. I think I left this on Friday night after the game, so I don't really remember leaving it, if I'm honest. But glorious, beautiful and glorious. We welcomed back 7, but we were still missing 6. Leeds camped on our line for the first quarter, assisted by 6 Gangs, but couldn't score. Cass scored the first time we got in their half and didn't look back. We won the game 3 times as Leeds hung in there like a floating turd. Eden was immense, Danny R did okay, and the pack smashed them. Failer bummed us, but it didn't matter. Hashtag come on you Fords, hashtag Aga in. And it was that good. Leeds were very good for the first 10 minutes, and to be perfectly honest, if they weren't so crap in attack, they would have scored at least a couple of tries in that time, because they had gaps. For some reason, they kept coming inside, back into our pack. But from then onwards, we absolutely dominated. They all played well. Eden being back in the team is massive for Cass, because it gives us some pace to get out of defence other than Alferts and Evalls. The pack really, were really, really good. And we were missing some big players in the pack as well. Watts was still injured. Danny Richardson started to play a little bit better. I don't know when Truman is coming back, but Richardson seems to be doing a decent job in the meantime. And in terms of the night, we had a couple of SLP meetups. I met Dom. I don't know if you saw our victory selfie. We took 2 at half time, 1 for if Cass won and 1 for if Leeds won. So that one we've done with the sad face was obviously the one that we took if Cass won. And then I met a very drunk Josh in the Oak afterwards, and he just talked shite at me for a couple of hours until I decided there's only so much Diet Coke you can drink, because I was driving. So it was a good night all round.
He looked remarkably happy considering that just.
He didn't he? Yeah, I took a photo and he yeah, that was the beer. I think I just bought him a pint. I think that's why I was smiling.
I mean, I'd have fainted. So there were some good moments in this game in terms of individual moments. I think Peter Matautia's try was when it looked like you were going to be in cruise control, getting to 14-0. That was really good play, especially by Niall Evalds in the build-up to that try. But then Matautia went and thought the idea to win a game was cannonballing a man trying to take a kick. So he got sin-binned for that one, and it kind of helped Leeds come back into it a bit, didn't it? They scored the next couple of tries. The Ash Hanley try was really nice, hands out wide. Was it Milo with really quick hands, and then the young centre Newman getting the final pass to put the winger in. But then there was then it seemed to sort of turn back into the Niall Evalds and Greg Eden show. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, just talking about the disciplinary earlier, I can't believe Matautia didn't get a ban for that, because he didn't so much as tackle him in the air. He just ran into him. But when he was at the sort of height of his jump, it looked awful, and he don't look much better on the replay. I suppose it's the fact that he didn't attempt to make a tackle. It's almost like he couldn't stop himself from running. But yeah, they did score. I thought their second try they were big forward passing, but then when I watched the replay, they were actually a forward pass for our second try as well. So I suppose those two evened themselves out. But Leeds never looked like they were in it. Even when they got to 14-12, they never looked like they were in it. They really did struggle to break our line. I was amazed when I saw that Hull had made eight tackle bursts. I don't know where they were from. If he did, he were wrapped up pretty quick afterwards.
It's probably winning the first contact, but two other blokes coming in quite quickly is often what you see with those sorts of numbers.
But they struggled to get out of the half, apart from penalties. And like I said earlier, the penalty were 9-3 to Leeds, and I'm not saying they weren't penalties, but they weren't penalties. And then the second half, we were just in complete control. And like I say, Eden played really well, 2 tries and an assist, and then took out the post for his second try. In fact, it looked like he'd hit the post and he weren't going to ground it. Then he decided right at the end just to put it on the floor. But that was a good kick from Evalds. McShane played really well again. He had a couple of really good breaks, and he sort of controlled it from the middle. He was sort of playing hooker and half-back at some stage. But they did play well. I don't know how many players Leeds had out, so I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but it does look like when we've got almost either a fully fit team or an almost fully fit team, we can sort of compete.
Yeah, well, Aledzki's out, isn't he? And he might be done for the year. That's a big loss for Leeds up front. And also, their main player, Luke Gale, their attack is so much less organised that when he's not there, for all his flaws, they do miss him.
Dwyer caused us a lot of trouble when he came on, and every time I see Leeds, whenever Dwyer comes on, he causes problems in attack. So either he's on the bench because his defence is poor. I don't understand I'm not neutral, but as an outsider looking in, why he's not getting a gig, for the whole game.
It's probably a combination of engine and impact, isn't it? Maybe. I don't think he's ever been an 80-minute player. I don't remember ever seeing him, at Warrington before and at Leeds now, being an 80-minute player. And I don't know if maybe his impact would be lessened if he was doing all that dynamic stuff from the get-go. When the other team are fitter and sharper, will he not use his energy up at the right time, sort of thing? That's all I can suggest, but he's never maybe been given the chance to be a longer minutes player either, has he? The moment of the match for me was right at the end of the match when Evalds made that break all the way up the field, And was it Harry Newman and Ash Hanley who both managed to track him down? It seemed like Leeds players came from everywhere to stop him a metre short, but all that did is left space then for Jimmy the Kind Horse to get a debut try off the bench for you guys against his former club.
Yeah, he didn't celebrate either. He didn't celebrate even though it was in front of the Cas fans. I think that was respect for Leeds. I mean, I
Does
can't
that mean you don't want to see him playing the shirt again?
No. Fair play to him. He's. I mean, to be fair, he's played both games since he's come on loan. He's only played 10 minutes each game. I think he comes on between 65 and 70. So I've got a feeling that he won't be. If we've got Watts back on Thursday, I don't think he'll make the 17. But he's done all right. But no, I can't believe they caught Evans because he looked like he were away, and like they sort of came from all sides, and he did well not to panic. And either try and kick it through or try and throw a pass out, and the three players that chased him back obviously couldn't stop the Cas players that had backed up to get the try, but that were about 78 minutes, and it was just looking like if Leeds scored again, it could, they might get one more play. I could sort of see golden point or something like that. So I'm glad that we did score, and so we've won our cup finals 2-1 this season because we've beaten them twice.
Good stuff. Well, from your side winning on Friday night, we moved to my side winning on Friday night, where it was Wigan 16, Salford 6. It was actually 6-4 to Salford at half-time, but Wigan managed to see it home in front of 9,431. Tom Grant was the referee. We don't have complete team stats on this one. Salford will be relieved to hear that the Super League website won't be counting Atta Hingano's stats, another sin binning for Salford as they mount up what must be getting close to a record in cards this year, because there was also the double sin binning for Morgan Smithies and Josh Johnson that I really don't understand why it was a sin binning. It was nothing more than handbags, but there you go. Individually, Liam Marshall had 170 metres, Jackson Hastings had 5 tackles and 155 metres, Willie Isa had a try assist and 140 metres, and Ethan Havard had 136 metres. For the losing Red Devils, Joe Burgess had a try, 9 tackles and 188 metres as he put in a lot of effort against his former side. Dan Sargentson, 144 metres likewise, and Reece Williams celebrating his new deal with 116 metres, showing his consistency. We did get a couple of fan views. Do you want to give us the first of those, Rob?
Yeah, Jen K, is that a new one? Is that a new name?
No.
Oh, is it not? Okay.
We'll skip the Wigan games, do you?
Well, if they've won, yeah. Jen K, not a classic game this one, but a memorable occasion at the DW. Good to give Manfredi a decent send-off. Salford defended their line well in the second half. I thought we looked comfortable. Decent support from the Salford fans.
Max Beekman said, on a short turnaround against a rested team with so many missing, the win was always going to be more important than the performance, so I'm glad we're through it. It was nice to see field play. He looked sharp and linked up well with Jackson Hastings. Hardacre also added to the ability of our halves to link up, which helped. Yeah, Wigan obviously came into this one with a plan to bring back 2 players from injury, and Field played the first half in the halves, and then Hastings moved back up to his traditional half-back position, with Hardacre coming in and playing full-back for the second half of the game. And to be honest, in the second half of the game, Wigan were absolutely in control. I think Salford put all their effort in the first half and only had 1 try to show for it, and didn't really have any real threats. I didn't feel like they were going to score through the second half, really. Wigan played more direct, took a few penalty kicks at goal in the second half, which they'd declined to do in the first half. Maybe that was something that was decided on in the half-time, that, guys, we're shit at scoring tries, let's take points from penalties in front.
Well, I mean, the highlights is literally just the fight and high shots from Salford, so they probably wanted to calm it down, I would have thought.
Yeah, well, when it was one of the sin binnings had happened, I think the double sin binning, Wigan were in the ascendancy but chose to keep running the ball, maybe thinking with been able to score against 12 when it was 12 on 12 the week before, so maybe that'll carry over. But playing against a championship side like Lee versus a Super League side like Salford is a different kettle of fish. And I think Wigan then realised our attack is still shit.